Hello guys. Today we're gonna talk about Thor: Love and Thunder. The previous video, this one is very late, but so this movie, this movie came out. It came out this summer. It's rated PG-13 at 13. It's an hour 58 long. It has 6.7 out of 10 on IMDb with about 100,000 ish user votes. It has 57 on Metacritic with about 300 critics. It's directed by I can't pronounce his name, but it's Taika Waititi or something. I can't pronounce it. I'm sorry. But he also did the Thor Ragnarok and a bunch of other stuff. It stars, of course, Chris Hemsworth from the other Thor movies and everything. Christian Bale too, who was in The Dark Knight. And then on Rotten Tomatoes, the movie has 65% from critics with about 414 critics and 77% by audience, about 10,000-ish audience people. The critics' consensus of it is, in some ways, Thor: Love and Thunder feels like Ragnarok Redux, but overall, it offers enough fast-paced fun to make this a worthy addition to the MCU. Audience says, even though Thor: Love and Thunder's constant silliness makes it hard to invest in the more serious sides of the story, there's still plenty here to enjoy. Alright, so this movie, I don't know if it still is, but when it came out and people saw it, for a little bit, people had issues with it. And I can see why, because the story this movie is really based on is actually a really kind of violent and a little bit of an intense story. And it was the story, I think a lot of people considered it kind of the final true Thor story. Like that was kind of his ending chapter with this character, the villain. And this movie had a lot of elements that made it feel like that, but at the end of the day, you never really felt like this was truly the end of him. But it definitely felt like the end of a lot of stuff, though, which Ragnarok kind of did. But I feel like this movie kind of hammered home for sure, like how different things are going to be for him even after Ragnarok. Now, is this film better than Ragnarok? Hell no. Ragnarok is a better film, and I think a lot of it, and I can't explain why, but I think a lot of it is just. Here's the problem with this film. It's the exact same problem that the Doctor Strange movie have. It's way too short. Like, I don't know what's with Marvel lately, but they think that they can do 2 hours films again, and they can't. They're beyond that. There's a reason why they've been doing a lot more miniseries, because these stories and these characters and this world they're in is so goddamn big and massive that to do it in 2 hours is try to do it in 2 hours or less is a crime. Like, these movies are events. Like, people plan their whole day around this shit. You can't do the 2 hour thing. It doesn't work anymore. It just doesn't. And if they're gonna make a Marvel movie, it has to be on the long side. It just is. Even if it's just even something as common as just a Thor movie, it just has to be that long. And this movie needed it, because I don't want to give away spoilers, but I'm just gonna say this. The main villain, played by Christian Bale, he's awesome in this role. He's great. The only problem is he has screen time. Don't get me wrong, and his impact is felt, but I think an extra 15 to half an hour with him and the other characters in the movie in general would have helped a ton. It's still a good movie, and as people said about the silliness, yeah, to be honest, I actually felt like the silliness interrupting the series most. To be honest, I kind of thought it was a little bit more of a problem in Ragnarok than in this movie. I think this movie did a good job of a better job of spacing out the silliness with the serious moments than Ragnarok. But however, I think what Ragnarok did better than this movie is I think Ragnarok just had more of an epic weight to it. I feel like this movie could have had more of an epic weight. But hold on one second. Let me check something. I want to see how long Ragnarok was compared to this movie. Because Ragnarok came out actually 5 years ago. That's crazy. Came out just 5 years ago. That movie was 2 hours and 10 minutes long. Now, it doesn't seem like much, but you have to keep in mind that's an extra 12 minutes. Now, imagine if you watch Thor: Love and Thunder, imagine if that movie had an extra 12 minutes. Imagine what they could have done with those 12 minutes. They could have gave a couple extra scenes to the main villain, a couple extra with some other characters. It could have added so much. Because this character, the main villain, like he's seen enough where you don't forget about him, but there's moments where you're just like, man, I wish I could have seen him do something like that or something like that, you know? I will say his introduction scene was cool, and I will say though, like they do make a lot of changes to the main the main thing is the same, but their path and journey to get there is way different in here in the movie than it is in the actual comic. And it's not a bad thing because it's not necessarily bad in the movie the way they do it. It's just it needed more time. And that's the same problem with the Multiverse of Madness movie. It needed more time. And but here's the thing, unlike however, I do think this movie still at the end of the day does function a little bit better as a movie than Multiverse of Madness does, mainly because this movie has more of a singular focus, while the Multiverse of Madness had so much shit going on in it. And I think that's what makes the difference here. And I think overall, even though Multiverse of Madness I think might be a better movie overall, I think this one's better structured. But both films overall though still have the problem of not being long enough. Overall, this movie's great. The action's good. The villain's great. The actors are good. It does have good moments, and it does have a sweetness to it that's really nice. I do like this movie, and I do feel like this is a good companion piece to Ragnarok, for sure. Like it does. I just feel like it just has just a good. It has some good moments too, and it does do some things that I didn't think they would, and I kind of give them some credit for taking some chances with it and pulling it off. And yeah, and I think a lot of it too is, I mean, 5 years, a lot of happened in 5 years between Ragnarok and Love and Thunder, and I think people are coming back in the cycle if we're ready to kind of have more serious movies. Because for a long time, silliness was the thing. We wanted our movies to be silly, you know? But now I think we're circling back to the fact that we kind of want. I'm hearing a lot of people missing, like, the older MCU days where they were funny, but they were also serious too. Like, the balance was a little bit more on the serious side slightly, but now lately the last movies it's been really silly. But the thing is that even though the movies can be very silly, like you can be super silly and all of a sudden super mega happens, just like holy hell, it feels that's the thing. I think people are ready for a more serious side of the MCU. I think the silliness is I think it's starting to rub people the wrong way a little bit because I think a lot of people feel like it takes away from the epicness of the stories and yeah, I'll admit there was a couple times when I watched this stuff and I'm like, yeah, that was funny, but to be honest, you probably could have just let it be serious and it would have worked maybe a little bit better. But I don't know. I kind of think, for all intents and purposes, the MCU is still strong. Now, later down the line, once this phase that they're in, the 3 phases of arc that concludes or gets close to the end, then we can decide how much staying power Marvel has. But for now, I think they're in good hands. But yeah, overall though, I kind of got on a tangent. Overall, this is a solid movie. It's still in theaters. Go ahead and check it out if you haven't seen it yet. It is streaming now, so you can check it there as well. Overall, it's a good movie. I do recommend watching. It's not a bad movie on any stretch. It just don't expect a perfect Marvel movie, because it's not. But yeah, this phase here has been a little weird. The perfect way to describe the Phase 4 here is rebirth. This whole phase has just been a relaunch for the MCU in a nutshell. And it's had good pieces, nothing really bad, but I just think that I think they're starting to get a little bit like, oh wow, we got all this stuff we can do. Let's just do all these characters. But it's like the further you broaden your thing, the harder it is to maintain cohesiveness. And I think we might start experiencing that a little bit. But oh well, it is what it is. But this movie's solid. I do recommend it. Go ahead and check it out for sure. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching. In case you want to chat with anyone at the camping company, you don't want to use the YouTube comment section, we do have a couple options. First one is we have a Discord channel. Find a link to that in the About page / About section of our channel. We also have a community tab in our channel as well. You can access that anywhere at any time. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like the videos, and have a good day.